This is Python's Paradise. This is your host, Greg Gilbert, aka the Python Hyena, straight out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, Canada, here on April the 13th, 2022. Yeah, my guest just made that face, like 13th that just stands right out there.
It sure
And
does. I didn't even realize it. Wow.
yeah, last year she had a couple movies celebrating their 40th anniversary. One, of course, Friday the 13th Part 2. Here's the steelbook to that film. I also have a Blu-ray, and I have it in the box set over there. And although I did not dig it out, I've got here Neighbors, of course, I have here as well. So another one celebrating uh well, what 40th anniversary last year. Look at that. Here you go. Yeah, you got a Blu-ray for that as well.
I got the VHS.
Oh, look at that. VHS Girls Night Out. That one I don't have yet.
Well, the only reason why I pulled it out off the shelf behind me here is because I wanted to hear you say oats,
Out.
the Canadian oats.
Out.
I'm out and about. Did I say it
Yeah.
wrong?
You know what? I never notice anything like that. I think Bob and Doug McKenzie are to blame for all that exposure. Yeah,
Yeah, we had a couple of big anniversaries last year. It was a big year for all of us.
absolutely. But folks, we have the absolutely stunning, beautiful, still, she hasn't aged at all. Vicky herself, Friday the 13th, Part 2, Lauren Marie Taylor. How do you do, Lauren?
I do just fine. Thank you. How are you, Greg?
I'm doing great. I want to start off by saying thank you for accepting the Doubtfire Face Challenge for suicide and depression awareness. I threw that out to you. Scotty McCoy
Yeah.
suggested I go after people on Cameo for that, and so I learned somewhere that you were on Cameo, and I threw it out there. So I appreciate you accepting that.
Yeah, it was pretty funny. I had my husband standing by to film it, and he even said he said, "Are you really going to do this?" Because he was like, "Are you crazy?" And I said, "Well, yeah, why not? I'll just do it and wash my face when I'm done, lick the bowl and everything." So it was actually a good excuse to have an abundance of sugar.
Well, you know what? I've had a few guests do it. Um, Sandy Johnson, who was Judith Myers in Halloween, she did it, and her husband was dressed up as Michael Myers, and he put the pie in her face.
Oh, that's perfect. I love that.
Um, Nancy McLaughlin from Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives, she did it in front of props from the movie.
Of course, because she probably has them.
Yeah. Now, Sandy Johnson, one of the people she nominated was Felissa Rose.
Oh,
And
love.
I met her at Horrorama, or not Horrorama, Frightmare in the Falls last year, and I showed her Sandy's video, and she was like, I accept.
Yeah, Felissa's great. She's game for anything. We were in Germany together, and when a lot of people think that we all know each other,
Mm-hmm.
we see each other from across the room at conventions, but we're always so busy that you never really get to have a conversation unless they're part of a group going out to dinner with your group. So when we were in Germany, I'm friendly with Catherine Kami from Sleepaway Camp.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we got to Germany, I spent the day with Catherine. And then when we got back to the hotel, it was like, and finally, Felissa and I got to meet and hang out together because there were only a few of us there. So she's game for anything. I love that chick.
I'm going to tell you, it was one of my favorite convention experiences meeting her because I am an associate producer on 2 movies that she's involved with. And she and Dave Sheraton were both at Frightmare in the Falls. When I get up there, to meet Dave Sheraton, who was dressed as Officer Doofy from Scary Movie. I said, first off, I'd love to see that crossover, Officer Doofy versus Angela from Sleepaway Camp. I'd kind of like to see that crossover. But I walked up to him and I said to him, I said, I'm an associate producer on Z Dead End, which you two are involved in. He goes, technically, you're my boss. And he gets Felicia's attention next to him, and her line was busy all weekend. And he goes, hey, it's our boss. Felicia's like, hi.
Yeah, it's funny because I was trying to get up to Frightmare in the Falls this year. I'm hoping enough people write in to get me up there because my son and his wife live not too far away in Buffalo. So it would be kind of nice to, so I could get up there myself, obviously.
Okay, I'm gonna talk to James Ponce about that.
Yeah,
James, yep, he's one of the organizer. I'm gonna bring that up.
Okay, cool. Yeah, because I've never done it. Usually, that I'm always in the States and just recently went overseas, for a Weekend of Hell and then London Comic Con just a couple of months ago or last month. And but usually, I'm in the major cities, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Vegas, Atlanta, Cincinnati, Vegas. So it would be nice to go up and see all of the Canadian fans because I get a lot of messages from you guys and I say, I just don't have any conventions up there that I've been invited to. So it would be
I'm
nice.
gonna see what I can do because I'm good friends with Lisa Langlois from class of 1984. She invited me to my first con. By the way, I've lived here my entire life. I'm going to be 50 this year. And I lived here my entire life. I would get homesick just going to Moncton or St. John, which are nearby cities. And Lisa just moved back after living in California for, I think, 30 plus years. And she was on my show a couple times and we got talking about travel and she asked what was stopping me. And then she made the offer I can't refuse, as Marlon Brando would say. She offered me an opportunity to assist her at Horrorama in Toronto. I couldn't say no.
Oh, nice.
And she and I have been friends to this day.
That's great. What's the population in your town where you live?
More than one.
But no more than 5.
I don't know. It's small here, but Toronto is the first time I was ever on a plane. I'm the only one in my family to be on a plane. And it didn't bother me, strangely enough. It was like a bus in the sky.
That's incredible.
And another interesting thing was I never got homesick when I got there, which is strange. But Lisa and I have remained friends, in fact, she called me recently because my father passed away a week ago, Monday.
Oh,
and
I'm sorry.
yeah, well, Dad battled ALS for over 8 years,
Okay.
and he would have been 76 this year, and he's
Oh.
one of the strongest people I know. And yeah, I saw him the morning before he passed, and love him very much. But he's at peace now, and I know he's in heaven. So, but anyway, Lisa called me Saturday to voice her condolences, and actually heard from Nancy McLaughlin last night too. So I've made a few friends in that that I talked to. In fact, speaking of films involved with, you ready for this?
Yeah.
Ready?
Okay, hold on. Now I got to put my glasses on.
You know who's directing that movie?
My guy.
Bobby Heckman. I'm a co-producer on this.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm hoping to be involved with a couple of projects. I've got one that looks promising, and I'll let everybody know once it's decided whether or not I'm in it. But I'm looking to get back into it. I was asked a couple of weeks ago, are you interested in getting back into it? And I said, well, now that I'm kind of chilling out, I was teaching for a long time and directing plays up locally in our community theater here. And I thought, yeah, it might be time to step back up again.
I know what it is. It's the girls' night out slash uh the great outdoors crossover. Bear versus bear.
Yeah, that's right. I married Bostwick, who was in that. I married the geeky guy with the glasses, who originally Gilbert Gottfried was to play the role that my husband played in Girls' Night Out. So we talked about it when, God rest his soul, when he just passed away. My
Yep.
husband said, wouldn't that have been weird if you met Gilbert Gottfried instead of me and married him?
Yeah, stop and think about that.
Yeah, sliding doors,
I wonder how romantic that would have been.
Well, if you know my husband, they're identical.
Yeah, I should get your husband on here at some point too, But nonetheless, yeah, you've been married since what was it, 1983?
Yeah.
Okay. You don't hear about marriage. You're obviously a keeper.
I
Was it
clean the house, I clean the litters, I cook. So I'm yeah. Yep.
was it the brown panties?
Listen, you can probably tell I just got out of the shower, right? I went
Yeah.
on a little hike before this, but I really needed to take a shower. And I open up my underwear drawer and I go, which one should I wear? Should I wear the brown ones or the nice ones? That was such a Vicky moment, but no, oh my God. I have a pair that I do photo ops. I started the photo ops as a dare from my representative. And I said, yeah, I'll do it. I said, if you can find a sweater or have a mock-up of the sweater, I will do a photo up with the brown undies. And I don't know if you've seen them on Instagram, but I have posted a few of the pictures on Instagram, and it's a really fun photo op. But would I wear those for real? No way. I'll go over to my underwear drawer right now and I'll take them all out, and you won't find one pair with any hints of brown on them.
I hope not. If mine have hints of brown, I'm going to be asking my cat questions. But yeah, Bobby Heckman, I spoke so highly of you. He told me I'm going to love having you on the show. So yeah. So I come across him because I was reaching out to get Kimberly Beck on the show, and I think he was representing her page or something like that, and he was very nice in how he responded to me, and I remembered that when he was making this, because obviously Kimberly was very, very busy, but kindness goes a long ways for me, so yeah. So I text him every so often, because speaking of Friday the 13th, where he works, I always ask him if Axel is on duty there or if he's watching erotic aerobics. Friday the 13th, part 4. Oh yeah, I have some fun texts with him every once in a while. So, but he said he had dinner with you and Amy and John and yeah. So
where was that? Where did we all have dinner together? Was it in Atlanta or Vegas? I can't remember. It must have been Vegas. I'm not sure. Who knows?
Who knows? I bet you wish you went to dinner in Friday the 13th part 2. I bet you wish. You know what? That's the first time alcohol saved lives.
Yeah.
Because had they not gone to the after hours bar, those other characters, how weird is that, huh?
Yeah, Jason would still be roaming around looking for other things to kill. It's true. She should have gone. She would have lived. Well, who knows? Maybe she did live, You didn't really see her die. You just saw her being dragged downstairs. Maybe I was faking my death.
I don't know. I thought maybe you were impersonating a slinky. Let's go down the stairs.
That was rough, man. Everybody asks me, was that a stunt person? And I said, no, those were my real shins hitting the steps. I still feel it to this day when I think about it.
Oh, wow. I have to ask, because this has been a little bit of controversy. Unfortunately, Steve Dash had passed away before I was able to get him on here. I had Warrington Gillette on here.
Oh yeah, he's a
I like
compliment.
Warrington, but I need to know from your perspective what the situation, because I know there was some tension there between those two. What is the story in terms of who did what in that movie from what you remember?
Oh, I speak only the truth about it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and I've spoken to Warrington also. I have a little podcast that I'm trying to, kick off and whatnot. And he was my first guest. And, Warrington and I have been friendly for years.
Mm-hmm.
So the walking through the woods was one of our crew guys. The guy who killed me, one of our crew guys, Jerry Wallace.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, Warrington is the one who went through the window. He's the one who had to put up with all the makeup and what have you. And then Steve Dash was the one who went around at Amy Steele.
Okay.
So that is how it goes.
Was
Yeah.
Jerry Wallace the female?
No, Jerry Wallace was, he had long dark hair.
You see, the reason I ask is I know there was a female at the beginning, the one that walks across the street. Apparently
Yeah.
that was a female's legs.
Yeah. Yeah, that was. Yeah. 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 So that one, I mean, I was not a part of that one because obviously that was filmed at a different time. But at camp, it was Jerry Wallace, Warrington, and then I really didn't see Steve Dash a whole lot because Amy and John Fury filmed their scenes after we were all gone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So.
Well, before we get into this in detail, again, I want to express my appreciation for your Doubtfire Face challenge for suicide and depression awareness, folks. She was game for it. I hate it when I give to a cameo and then they flake out on me because it ends up costing me. But I put these up on my YouTube, and it's like Sandy Johnson when she put hers up on Facebook after the pandemic just to cheer people up, and people loved it, And so I appreciate you doing it. Is that your first pie in the face?
Intentional, yes.
Oh, you've had an unintentional one?
No, it is my first one. I mean, on the wedding you do that, but no, that was my first pie in the face. And and it is something that's important to speak about. And I think I mentioned it in the cameo, how there's this perception that I put out there of happy-go-lucky Lauren, always a smile on the face, not a care in the world, when actually my husband can tell you I have bouts of depression and anxiety to the point where my doctor prescribed meds for me.
Same here.
Yeah, they didn't do well with me. They actually did mess with my blood pressure because I have high blood pressure too. So they messed with the blood pressure pills. So now I just have to deal with it in other ways like crying jags and it's just how it is. Sometimes it's just really hard to deal. And you're up at night overthinking everything. Even something as silly sounding as a puppy going up and down the steps, it just sets me off because what if he falls and breaks his leg? I mean, it sounds silly, but then there are just moments where for no reason you just can't control it. It's just something I can't control, and it happens. So there has to be an awareness that everybody, most people, a lot of people, especially in our business, put on a happy face, but there's more behind that smile than what meets the eye. And sometimes it's a lot of pressure to always be like this, so that when you do come down, I surprise myself sometimes when I come down. I'm like, wait a second, which one am I? Am I this anxiety ridden person who has bouts of just extreme sadness for whatever reason? Or am I the happy go lucky girl? And I have had to come to terms with marrying, those people up in here and in my heart,
Well, you know what? Had I had space and characters on the cameo, I would have asked you to nominate 3 people, but I just didn't have the spaces, because I'm trying to get the industry involved. And so, yeah, of anybody else from Friday the 13th Part 2 would be up for something like that?
Um, I think Bill Randolph
Hmm.
would do it. Did Warrington do it?
I didn't ask him. He didn't come across to like. Sometimes I get a feel on people.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so I never asked him.
I think he would do it. Um, hmm. Yeah, it's hard to get in touch with Marta. Stu doesn't do appearances on anything. And Kirsten is a little tough to pin down. Um, um, Amy or John Fury, I'm not sure if I don't know. I don't know if they would do it or not. Russell Todd might. So I'm going to nominate Russell Todd and Bill Randolph. I think they might do it. Maybe Ron Milkey, but he'd have to have one of us do it live.
There you go. There you go. Well, you know what? I enjoyed the one you did, and I gotta say, how hard did your husband laugh?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Yeah, I had to do community service with him on that one for a while. Yeah, yeah, it was pretty funny because at first he balked at it, but then when it actually happened, he just, yeah, made fun of me for several days. Yeah,
You had sprinkles on it.
I know.
Yeah.
I know it did. Can't do it without sprinkles. It's funny because I'm making a banana bread pudding for Easter, and I'm making a carrot cake, and I'm thinking, that would have been even more fun to have banana cream pie in my face. But you can't waste something that's so time consuming to make.
Yeah, yeah. But no, I enjoyed that, and I need to ask, what charities are close to your heart?
I do our local animal shelter here.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm very involved with that. I do their walks. I donate food, blankets. I adopt from them. So I'm really big on our local animal shelter because they need it.
Mm-hmm.
They almost closed their doors several years ago. So to help bring awareness for that, and especially post pandemic, there's been an overrun of animals in shelters because now that people are going back to work, they realize, oh, shoo, there's nobody around to walk the dogs, and I don't want to hire a dog walker. So I guess, well, somebody will adopt Fido, so
Ah,
that's been a little rough. So they've had to build additions, on, and then they've built, part of the fundraising was to build an outdoor area where the dogs can have, their own dog runs, especially some of the larger breeds that nobody wants to adopt because they're afraid of them, like pit bulls. Pit bull is not a mean animal unless you raise them to be a mean animal.
mm-hmm.
I've known some very sweet pit bulls. So that's big for me because, you know, animals' lives, I hate to use this phrase, but they matter. All
Mm-hmm.
right. Animals' lives matter. And to cast them off because they've become a pain in your neck is not cool. You should know about this before you adopt, and the other point of rescue organization, another animal organization that I'm involved with, they do, and I'm part of this process too, they do at-home visits
Mm-hmm.
before they approve the adoption. So you have a whole interview process, then there's the home visit. And it's, it's little things, even like looking at a low table to see if there are bite marks, to see if the dog has chewed on a table instead of being given the right chew tools. But then I do transport. Like if they're coming from Alabama, they stay with people along the way, and then
Mm-hmm.
I'll do the like New Jersey to upstate New York or New Jersey to Connecticut part of the transport. So that's how I do my part with that one, is to help them get to their forever homes.
Well, I'll tell you what, since you did a Doubtfire Face challenge, send me a link and I'll make a donation.
Oh, thanks.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Yeah, because I often do that because I take this very seriously, So yeah, it's kind of my way of giving back,
Yeah, it's called Pointer Rescue Organization. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Now, before we talk about your films, I want to get a little bit of your background because I know you've done college and you've done stuff like that growing up. What made you want to get into acting?
Um, well, I was a shy girl,
Mhm.
My grandmother used to call me sourpuss because I never smiled, very shy girl growing up in the Bronx. And when my brother and I were in high school, um, we moved back in with our mother, and he was like stage managing the plays at his high school. So he said, and the girl dropped out, it's not a speaking role. It was a show called Indians, which of course is politically incorrect now. But it was just a little small, just a small part. And he said, you just have to stand up there and, make believe you're being burned at the stake. And I was like, oh, all right. So I made a lot of friends. It was also an all boys school. So it was a nice way to kind of get out of my shell and,
Mhm.
meet the boys too and go to all the dances. So I did that. And then I kind of liked the vibe of the people who were involved with the production. So when an audition came up for 12th Night the following semester, I auditioned and found that I was getting all the parts in all the plays. And then one year we were doing Oklahoma. I think it was my senior year. We were doing Oklahoma. No, my junior year. We were doing Oklahoma, and Ali Sheedy was also in it. She was the ingenue, and I was Ado Annie, the comic relief. And her manager obviously came to see her in the show. And afterwards, Ali says to me, oh, Lauren, let's go meet my manager, blah, blah, blah. She's interested in you. I was like, oh, all right. Because I was going to become a veterinarian or a teacher or whatever. And so I went and I met her, and she said to me, you have a really good all-American look for TV commercials. I'd like to, you know, try out and see how you do. Have you ever thought about it? And I said, no. I said, I do this for fun and to be social. So I went, added the Marie to my name, and which is my middle name anyway. But there was already Lauren Taylor in the Screen Actors Guild, and you couldn't have two. So I just said, well, let me just add the Marie in, and hyphenate it. So that's how it became Lauren Marie. And within a month, I booked a 3-year contract with a fast food chain to do all their jingles and all their on-camera commercials.
There you go. There you
Yeah,
go.
yeah.
Well, here's my story about Friday the 13th Part 2. It was the first one of the franchise I seen. I was afraid of horror films at that time. I would have,
Why?
yeah, well, I would have been 9 years old in
Oh, okay.
1981 when that came out. And at that time, I was petrified of horror films. It was funny because my older brother said to me, he goes, look, if you can watch all the blood and gore that's in Conan the Barbarian, why can't you watch a horror movie? Because Jason wasn't facing Conan. He was facing a running, screaming Amy Steele, you know? If he's facing Conan, it might have been a different story. But nonetheless, they my uncle owned a video store at that time, and my cousins had baited me into watching Friday the 13th Part 2.
Uh-huh.
And here's my thing. I'm a big believer in good over evil. I like to see evil vanquished, even to this day. Like I remember seeing Return of the Jedi at the drive-in theater, and I was just so happy when Darth Vader turned good. It's like it was the first time I really grasped the concept of the power of good over evil. And so you got 2 or 3 kills in that movie
Mhm.
where I'm watching like this or with a pillow over my face or whatever have you. My mom comes in and turns the TV off, but not during one of the kills because I had a first time in that movie. Kristen Baker became the first woman I ever seen naked.
Ah, okay. There's always a first time. Yeah.
Yep.
And that's
That
a
was a
good one to see.
well, it's the first time I realized, gee, they look a lot different under the clothes than us guys do. Now, when I interviewed Russell Todd,
I
he
love
told
him.
me that Kristen Baker would love to hear this story. So I've never had her on here yet, but I'd love to share it with her. But nonetheless, that was where Mom turned the TV off, and my cousins managed to sneak that film back on again. And I foolishly went along with it because I just wanted to see the guy with the sack over his head get his comeuppance. Boy, was I in for a disappointment.
Yeah.
Yeah, going home, I was just like, am I gonna be able to sleep? What had happened is my older brother had managed to bait me into watching Friday the 13th, the final chapter, because he said Jason dies in it. Technically, he's right. And I watched a lot of it like this, but the same token, Jason got his comeuppance. I was like, maybe I can give this a shot again, maybe. And I kind of got the bug. I went and saw X 4 times in the theater
Oh
when
my
it
God.
was
Is that
here.
the one with Kane Hodder?
No, no, X was with Jenna Ortega.
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah, it
I've
was
seen six. I've seen part six and obviously part one and two.
mhm.
And five. I've seen parts of five. But you would think we would all watch all of them, but it wasn't a thing.
I love part 6.
Yeah, I love part six too. That was my
Yeah.
favorite.
Yeah, I saw part 6 at a screening in Toronto,
Uh-huh.
and the audience was just very, very active in it. We got these glow sticks, and we're told to wave them around whenever something on a card we were given happened. Well, the card said every time steam or rain or fog appears on the screen. I'm like, I'll be doing this all night.
Yeah, yeah,
Screw that.
yeah.
But I remember putting a post about it on Facebook, and I got a call the next day when I was going to a Christmas party um, in Toronto, and the call was from Nancy McLaughlin, and I said to her, I said, I watched you last night. She goes, I know.
Yeah, yeah, it's funny because actually I have a funny Tommy and McLaughlin story
Yeah.
myself. We were at a drive-in theater last year doing an appearance. It was Bill and Tommy and me, and they were showing part six and part two and Sleepaway Camp also, which Felissa thought was pretty funny. That was the first time I saw it, was at a drive-in. And our rep called me up, and we were all staying at the same hotel. She goes, "Hey, when you drive Bill over from the hotel to the drive-in tonight, can you also bring Tommy with you?" And I was like, "Well, yeah, okay, no problem. How will I know it's him? Because I'd never met him before." And she says, "You'll know it's him when you see him." I was like, "Oh, okay." So he comes into the lobby and he's got his bag and, with all of his merch in it. And I said to him, I said, "Are you Tommy?" And he goes, "Yeah." And I said, "Oh, I'm your ride." I didn't, I just said, "I'm your ride." I didn't. Anyway, so I said, "Can I help you with anything?" And he goes, "No, no, no, I got it. I got it." So he pop the trunk. He goes to sit in back instead of sitting next to me. Bill, of course, goes to sit in back too. So nobody's sitting next to me in the front. And we go drive to the appearance. We get there, settle in. He's over there. I'm over there. At the end of the night, we all get back together to go back to the hotel. And he looked at me and he goes, "Laura Marie, I am so sorry. I thought you were my handler for the night." Because I had my hair in pigtails, and I had my little jeans and my cowboy boots on. So I didn't, and I had like a Camp Crystal Lake shirt on. So I looked like a fangirl. So he didn't realize, with the pigtails, he didn't realize it was me. He's like, "I loved you in part two." He goes, "I just didn't recognize you, with this whole thing." I said, "Well, I'm also 40 years older too."
I can't tell.
I can.
I really can't tell. You look stunning.
You're too kind. Thank you.
Yeah. But no, that was my experience first seeing the movie. Was Kristen Baker in the birthday suit. So
Yeah.
yeah. So if I ever meet her, I'm gonna share that story. but but nonetheless, like I said, I got the where's that steel book? I got this. I got it on Blu-ray, and I got the big box set over there too. But they
Yeah.
just released the steel book of this, and
Yeah, yeah. I've autographed a bunch of those. I've got my box set here too. Yeah.
yep, yep. I got the box set and all
It's
kinds
mine
of
is still wrapped. I haven't opened mine yet. It's still wrapped.
yeah.
Yeah. Not opening it.
Why
Still wrapped.
not?
I don't know. I'm just not. I got my little Jason mask. Little friend of mine made that. Evan made
Mm-hmm.
that for me. It's like really cute. I don't know why I won't open it. I just I like it all wrapped up and nice. It just, I don't know. It's my little collector's item, if you will.
There you go. There you go. But but no, part two was interesting because part one had a very different um part two went in a direction that part one didn't go in because the killer Jason wasn't a major part of the original films.
That's all right.
So yeah, so it's kind of interesting where that all took off from
Yeah.
and yeah, from an ending that was kind of lifted from Carrie, even Victor Miller has said that to me,
Yeah. Yeah.
So but nonetheless, part one and two have that they have a very different look from the other. You can tell they were shot in was it Connecticut?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kent, Connecticut. Mhm.
Yep, they have a very different like actually Bobby Hackman said when he did this, I noted that to him. He said that was intentional because he wanted that look. I hear a lot of the locations for part two are not around anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. They're not. Yeah, the owner of the Packanack Lodge was getting mad that people were making pilgrimages there. So it got torn down, and I think it's a bunch of condos now.
Why would he do that? You'd think they would embrace it.
I don't know. I guess, it's Connecticut. So it's Connecticut. I mean, I've been to the camp in Blairstown,
Mhm.
and it's still camp, but again, it's an official camp. It wasn't a camp that went out of business or anything like that. So it's still in business, and the Blairstown Diner is still there also. I was
Mhm.
just there a few weeks ago. I was driving to visit my sister-in-law in Pennsylvania and dropped into the Blairstown Diner along the way.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, I heard you were at the 13 fanboy thing because I'm a co-producer on that, you know.
Yeah, I wasn't at the premiere of it. I spoke to them about it, but I forgot where it was. I had a conflict that weekend, and I thought I could squeeze it in to
Mhm.
get to it, but it was just too far away from where I live. I think it's something like 6 hours away, and there was no way I could do both
Yeah.
things that I was doing that weekend. It was just not possible. Yeah.
Yeah. It didn't even get screened at all here. I tried to get it screened when I went to Frightmare in the Falls, but no
Oh yeah.
avail. I'm not a big fan of streaming stuff. I
Mhm.
like to see things on the big screen.
Yeah.
Yep. So when I put a bunch of money into a film, I'd like to see it up there. But
Yeah, I mean, I also, even at home, I mean, I'm the same way. I love going to the movie theaters to see movies.
hmm
But at home, if my husband's going to put in a movie, I tell him, I said, we've got to do the whole movie experience, though. I got to have the popcorn, and it's got to be loud. I'm like, volume up, dude. I want to feel like I've got Dolby speakers in my den.
Yep. Yep. So talk about being casted in Friday the 13th Part 2. Was it just a regular audition for you?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was always my approach to auditions, that it's, neither here nor there. If you book it, you book it. If you don't, you don't. That drove my husband crazy early in our marriage, because he tended to obsess about every audition he would get. But yeah, it was the casting director had put me in a few commercials previous to that. And when the script came up, All American, Girl, of course, Laura Marie came to mind. So I went and auditioned, and I don't even think I had a call back for it. They offered the part through my manager, and yeah, and the rest is history. Just pack your bags and you're going. It was a very It was an easy process for me for that one. And for Neighbors too. It was an easy process for all of them, actually. Yeah.
Well, isn't it weird how the brown panties have become so
Oh,
iconic for that?
yes, somebody actually did a caricature of me. I love this. Yeah, it's pretty funny. But yeah, that was not my idea, I got to tell you. You know, back in we filmed it in 1980, and
Hmm.
back in 1980, you know, satin bed sheets were all the rage. So of course, satin underwears were all the rage. It's just that the color was very unfortunate, and the perfume was Steve Miner's idea. It was not my idea. I was like, dude, this is gonna sting, just so you know. Yeah.
Yeah. And yeah, and then you went out to your car there and you had the, what was it, McDonald's laying there in the
Something I would never eat, of course. I haven't had McDonald's. I can't even remember the last time I had. Oh no, I had McDonald's French fries recently, but that's about it.
Yeah, I noticed that in the windshield of the I suppose that wasn't yours. That was Kirsten's, right?
All right, yeah, props department. Yeah, Kirsten's. Yeah, because I was also a vegetarian at the time too. Yeah.
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 Well, talk about your costume in that movie, like the sweater and stuff. What did you like? I hear the story about Adrienne King, and I agree with her. I don't understand that outfit they had her wearing it because I always thought Adrienne was stunning. You know, when I
Yeah,
see her in that
agreed.
first film, and then in this second one, they have her in this green overalls and the green turtleneck. I'm like, come on, she's beautiful. It's like, why are they doing that? So, what was the idea behind your clothes and that?
Well, you could still see that she was beautiful despite that. You know, that was
Oh, I
probably
still
part
think
of it.
so.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she is. No, you know, it's like it's not your choice. You know, the red halter on towards the beginning was mine. Actually, it wasn't mine, it was my mother's. I borrowed it. Jeans were mine, Gloria Vanderbilt jeans back then. Bathing suit was mine. But yeah, then it came to that sweatshirt, that horrible striped sweatshirt, and they needed multiples of everything. So I think they just went to the local Kmart, got as many of those items that they could, if in case we had to do the scene over and over again, or if the ugly sweater got wrecked. You know, I guess limited budget, they just wanted to get the cheapest clothes they could find. And I changed out of that perfectly nice purple sweater and perfectly nice outfit into, and perfectly nice black undies, into the whole Kmart special. And it just, I don't know. I never really liked it, and I never felt comfortable in it. It was itchy. The pants were ill-fitting. I just was not a fan of the wardrobe in this movie at all.
No. And of course your death scene in the movie, Sandra, Jeff.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is she doing going up the steps when Mark is in a wheelchair? I mean, you know, come on. You know, was there a ramp that he could get up the steps? Why is she looking up the steps for him? It was just too funny. I don't know. I don't know.
Talk about your death scene in that movie, because of course that's where you get the big reveal of Jason and the sackhead, because of course he's under the covers with Marta Kober laying there beside him, and
Yeah.
Bill Randolph is just kind of hanging around to the side.
Yeah, literally.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that was kind of funny. Bill was actually standing on like a little apple box so
Hmm.
that he didn't have to hang there like this. So he was a little bit more comfortable, well, as comfortable as you can get, hanging with a sheet around your neck.
Hmm.
But Marta didn't even have to be there. She was not a part of it. After her little eyeball thing was done, she was out of there. But yeah, it is. It's kind of an honor to be in the scene where it's the first time you see Jason as an sort of see Jason as an adult, with his sack head on. But yeah, with that one, the blood capsule in my mouth was not bursting because it was in my mouth for so long. The gelatin on the outside got soft. So when I bit down on it, it was in a crunch, which it had to be in order to break on cue. So Steve Miner has the camera on a dolly coming at me, and it went on forever. And I'm screaming and screaming and screaming. And I keep biting down on it. And Steve Miner's going, bite down harder. And I said, Steve, it's not breaking. It's not breaking. Is there any way we can do this where you cut, to me breaking it? So I wound up biting into it, subtly. And then I had to actually push the blood out of my mouth with my tongue. And that's how that worked. It didn't spurt out the way they wanted it to because it just wasn't happening. So that's how that went. Yeah. And then they pumped the blood up through the leg and, for that little leg nick. It wasn't very gory. I mean, they can only have so much blood in order to get the rating that they needed. So that's why you didn't see any kind of gore. Like now, you can rip out people's hearts and,
Oh, gee, yeah.
Oh, God.
What was the story? Because I hear this, and I know you know about this Marta being underage for the, and of course that death scene to me was one of the standouts because of course it was a take off Mario Bava's Twitch of the Death Nerve, Bay of Blood, the shish kebab in the bed.
Yeah.
Do you remember any talks about that? Because
No, not back then. No, not at all. I mean, I was, what, a year older, maybe 2 years older than her. So I didn't really hear a whole lot. How old was I? Yeah, I was barely legal. I think I was 18 when we were filming it. I was 18, I think. Yeah. There were no other adults there, no union rep, no nothing. So I'm not really, I wasn't really privy to all of that because I just thought, oh, we're all young. I mean, the guys were all a little older than us, but Kirsten and Marta and I were all, within a few years of each other. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard Marta was under 18. That's why what I heard. Yeah.
Yeah, she was under 18.
But I definitely I love the death scene, I gotta say.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you see the cut footage that was surfaced from the movie?
No.
Oh, it's on the Blu-ray, on that box set.
Oh, it is.
Oh yeah. If you go on YouTube, you can find it. But the shish kebab scene was definitely extended.
Yeah.
Because that almost landed the film an X rating.
Yeah. Yep.
So talk about slinking down the stairs. You don't do that now. That's not your big exercise moment when you say you're out for your
doing my planks down the stairs. No.
Yeah.
No, they pulled me down the stairs. They were like, oh, yeah, they didn't pad my shins. No, nothing. They just very slowly dragged me down the stairs. Again, Jerry Wallace did it, and he was very nice about it. He did it very slowly. And, I pretty much said, I'm not doing this again. Luckily I'd have some ballet training, so my point was very good so that my feet were very flexible. So it wasn't like, they were coming like stuck like this. I was like Gwyneth Paltrow in Contagion, So I just pointed my toes as I'm going down the steps, and it worked out fine. But in retrospect, a stunt person probably should have done that, but it was fine. We were young, and what the director says goes, basically.
You would think you'd get a little bit of blood on the stairs, it's like
yeah, I mean, they didn't show the steps afterwards though, right?
No.
So, and maybe there was blood on the steps, and nobody caught it. Yeah.
Because I'm like, they gotta go upstairs so they could see the blood in the bed,
Yeah. Well, maybe Jason cleaned it up. Maybe mommy taught him well how to clean up after himself.
Well, he does remove the tea kettle off the stove at the beginning of the film, so maybe.
Yeah, he's a little OCD. He's got OCD for sure.
OCD for sure. Talk about working with Steve Miner as a director, because he went on to do the third film as well.
Yeah, I mean, again, he was a director. He was very he knew what he wanted. He knew what he wanted out of a scene, and he shot it. It's funny because I spent so much of my career on the soap opera, and you have multiple directors on the soap opera, and it's a different relationship that you build. With a movie, well, Neighbors, it was different, but with Friday the 13th, there was only such an amount of time that we had to do it. There was not a whole lot of goofing around on set at all, so he ran a very tight ship, you
Mm-hmm.
know. But yeah, he was a nice guy, obviously. But he did run a very tight ship, and after that, doing Girls Night Out, Bob Dubell was very friendly. He was really into telling you about what the camera's seeing, as it's coming towards you. He was into letting you know what the angles were. He was really into explaining. And John Avildsen was an Academy Award winner who directed Neighbors. He won for Rocky. So he was pretty, he obviously there was a lot of fun on that set of Neighbors. But Steve was very, let's get it done. Yeah. I'm picturing all these people in my mind as I'm talking about them. It's kind of weird. Yeah, my roof guys are coming soon, by the way, just so you know.
Yeah. Talk about, I always found it sad because, Alice at the beginning, that's her body in the shack, and of course you see Kirsten Baker in there, and
Mhm.
and Jack Marks, who we just recently lost as the
Yeah.
sheriff. His body's in there. I forget who said, was your body supposed to be in there too?
Um, it was supposed to be, but it wasn't. That's why I think she got away.
Well, let's talk about the other cast members, like Amy Steele. Everybody loves Amy Steele.
Mhm.
Yeah, and John Fury. These kids smoke better dope than I do.
Yeah, that was
John.
pretty fun. Yeah, I mean, most of my relationships were with obviously with Tom McBride, because we were together, Marta, Kirsten, and Bill, Russell, we were all the group that stays behind, we were
Hmm.
all pretty tight. And, we slept in the cabins, at the camp next door, I guess it was. So we were all, we all got along. We were all, pretty close, goofing off together and eating together, not sleeping together. None of that business happened, but, eating and having breakfast, lunch, and dinner together, going into town together, going running, things like that. So yeah, yeah. But Amy and John Fury, again, because they were in different scenes for the most part, except the opening daytime stuff, they didn't have to be up there the whole time. They could leave, but we had to stay there and film all those nighttime scenes. And then, after we were done, that's when Amy came and did her stuff with John Fury and, all those Jasons.
I love that scene where Amy kicks him in the crotch.
Yeah, it's pretty funny. Yeah.
Yep, she got away with that. Tom McBride, sadly, we lost him in 1995. I didn't know that he wasn't in a wheelchair in real life,
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people didn't know that. It's
Yeah,
interesting.
well, I know one thing you didn't know apparently on set. Didn't you have a thing for him and then you found out that he was gay?
Oh, I knew. No, 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 because
Oh,
we've
okay.
known each other from commercials. Because
Oh, okay.
we were big on the commercial circuit. Tom McBride and I did hundreds of commercials, so we knew each other. We're like, oh my God, it's you. Yeah. So, oh, I had flirted with him before, and so when we got on set, it was kind of like, Lauren, I'm like, I know, but I can flirt all I want. I mean, now it's like nobody cares if you flirt with women, men, dogs, cats, it doesn't matter, you just flirt with everybody. But I guess back then it was kind of like, don't do it. But he was cool about it. He was just rolling his eyes and sucking his teeth.
And you were certainly better at sports than he was,
Well,
except
I
for
don't
knowing
know.
what they were, the one with the puck,
The one with the pup.
soccer.
Yeah, yeah. Listen, yeah, and then there's a scene where I try to smoke the joint, and it's very clear very clear that I had never smoked anything in my entire life. I mean, I didn't even know how to hold the thing. What a disaster that was. I think that scene was more uncomfortable than putting on those brown undies. I have,
Oh,
because
were you
I
the
mean, hmm?
were you there for any of the death scenes, like for um Marta and Bill and for Tom? Because Tom had that famous wheelchair.
We were there, but we weren't watching it. No, because
Okay.
yeah, we were mostly, I think I posted a picture on Instagram last year or something where, Crazy Ralph and Marta and a couple people are hanging out below the steps. And, that was the day of her death scene, but we were all just kind of hanging out. But it's not like we were in the room or, in the woods when Tom McBride was doing it, because there's just so many moving pieces for those things. You can't be in the way, basically. You don't want to be in the way for that.
You met Walt Gorney, Crazy Ralph, huh?
Yeah.
What was he like? I've had Adrian King on here talk about him as well.
Yeah. I mean, again, it was just a few days with him, but he was very nice. I mean, he was funny, he's
Hmm.
a nice guy. Bill Randolph got a kick out of him. He talks about him often.
Yeah, I got to get Bill on here, because he was also in Dress to Kill,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
yeah,
Iconic
love
movie. Yeah.
love that movie. Did you get? I know you definitely weren't in scenes with Adrian King, but did you meet her at all?
No, I hadn't
No.
met her until one of the conventions.
Yeah, yeah. So overall, with part two, do you remember the first time that you got recognized, like just out and about from that film?
Well, because I no, because
No?
again, I jumped straight into the soap opera. Within 2 years, I was on the soap opera. And when you're on a soap opera, you're in everybody's living rooms almost every day, 5 days a
Hmm.
week, or at least 3 days a week, given your storyline. So anything I was recognized for, it was always for loving, because that's every single day in your
Well,
face.
that was with Tom McBride, Loving.
No, it wasn't. No, it was
No,
right.
no, no, no,
No. But he did
no.
audition for it. He auditioned for one of the replacements for my love interest, and he got a screen test and everything, and I really advocated. I was like, please, please, we did this movie together. It would be iconic for him to be on the soap with me. And they went with somebody who was a blonde, but he got very close to getting the role, and the chemistry was pretty obvious between us. So that was kind of a disappointment for both of us, because we really thought they were going to go for it. But no, I mean, it's weird because I feel like get recognized more now for parts two, because of the box sets, because of the book, because of the documentary thing that they did. Yeah, I feel, like I'll be in Walmart, and, especially if I have a t-shirt on that is horror related. Um, Somebody will stop and they'll kind of do a double take, and I'll go, yeah, the one with the puck. And then they'll go kooky, they'll go a little crazy, and they'll like take out their phone and do a selfie, and everybody else in Walmart's like, what's going on? And so that happens a few times there, especially when they have all the t-shirts out for Halloween and things like that. So, and people are buying them up.
So they don't make you go down the escalators like this. Look at me coming up with ideas. Let's talk a bit about Neighbors, because we sadly, like John Belushi. I've interviewed three people from the Blues Brothers, three of the band. I've heard the stories. I've interviewed a couple people from Animal House in 1941. Here's the thing with John. When you look at the Blues Brothers, you see where he's so talented musically as well.
Mhm,
Look at Animal House where he plays Bluto.
mhm,
You look at Neighbors, how cool is it? He's playing the straight guy in
mhm.
Neighbors, like where his career could have gone had he kept himself. That guy had a lot of talent in him. What were your memories of John?
Oh, he was great. Oh my God. Going from ugly brown undies to the best wardrobe in the world. You know, um, he was really cool. I mean, I got the call. I was doing a show in Chicago where I took over for Jennifer Grey when she fell down on her 18th birthday and bumped her head. So I had to go in and take over for her because I was involved with the production in New York with Kevin Bacon, of course. And I came back from Chicago, walked into my apartment, my phone rang, the old phone, and said, Lauren, get over to such and such a place. They can't find a girl to play, the daughter in Neighbors. It's a new movie coming out with John Belushi and Dan Aykroyd. I hadn't watched Saturday Night Live a whole lot, so I really didn't have a connection to that. So I guess a lot of the actresses were fangirling them. So I went, and got there, and they're like, I was like, oh, hi, I'm Lauren Marie Taylor, blah, blah, blah. Belushi's there like this, and it's this big, conference table, and all these people are there. I'm like, geez, there's a lot of people for one audition. Usually you go into a casting director and it's just you and them in the room. But this was like a table full of people in a really nice apartment on the Upper East Side in Manhattan. And I walked in and they're like, oh, where have you been? I said, well, I was just in Chicago doing album, 4-person play. I know that. Where'd you go while you were there? And I was like, I went here, I went there, I stayed here. They're like, oh my God, we know exactly where you were. That is so cool. So we were just chatting, and I didn't even read really. So I was like, okay, so then I went back to my apartment, phone rings, go back. They want you to read. They liked your vibe. So I went back and I read with them, and and they're like, yeah, we like you. Are you available, around? I was like, yeah, I'm around. Well, what do you do all day? I said, I do a lot of TV commercials. I'm understudying an off-Broadway show right now. I go running, I run the marathon. And Dan Aykroyd was like, you run marathons? I'm like, yeah, just running my first marathon last year and all that stuff like that. And I went back to my apartment, the phone rings again, and they said, well, they want you to go back and sign contracts. They want you to play the daughter. And originally it was Dan Aykroyd who was supposed to be the father, and Belushi, who was supposed to be the crazy neighbor. And then they switched it up. So that was kind of cool. And it was just a great experience. I mean, they used to pick me up after the Broadway show and off-Broadway show when I was done for the night. And we'd go out and we'd go to, the Palladium, we'd go to concerts, we'd go hang out with Carly Simon and Carrie Fisher and Christopher Reeve and all those cool people. And I was so not starstruck because it was just every day to me, it was just so normalized for me. The only time I get silly is when I think about it and I think, wow, that was really a cool and unusual time to have. And he was great. Everybody talks about the drugs and the drugs and the drugs, and he wasn't like that around me. He never said, hey, Lauren, you want to smoke? He never asked me, he never asked me. He actually treated me as if I was his, daughter, his school, because I was played younger than I was at the time.
So I was a big fan of Belushi. Yeah.
Oh, it's great. They were great. They were so much fun, Easter's, it was great. I mean, Dan Aykroyd came to my grandparents' apartment for Easter, and we drove up in the hearse, and they lived across the street from a cemetery. It was so funny. Yeah.
I met Dan Aykroyd. He was doing a wine signing here.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he was here, and I got him to sign my Blues Brothers DVD because at the time we didn't have Blu-rays. But I've still got the DVDs. I still have that one because he signed that, and I got a picture with him, and it was great to meet him, and but I don't know what it is with you and panties. You go from the brown panties to the red edible panties. Now, I think that they should have you do a line of those commercials, seeing that you said
Yeah, I haven't had anybody ask me to sign any candy underwear, but I'll always take a dare. So maybe that would be that would be a neighbor's photo op, to have me wearing candy underwears instead.
What was that? Was that like, because I wouldn't know, was that real candied underwear?
Yeah, that was a thing back then. Yeah, there was I forgot it, what was it called? Not the Erotic Bakery. That was another place that was in the West Village, but we got those in the East Village, and they came in different flavors. And we got them when we were shopping for the wardrobe. And Belushi and Aykroyd and I went, down to the East Village and met them down there. And we just went from, little tiny stores trying on stuff and whatnot. And he was like,
Did they try on the underwear too?
yeah, no, but we did take it out. We did eat it, so that was kind of fun. Yeah, we bought a bunch of them. He bought a bunch of them, and we were like, in the car going back, we're like, you want to try it? Like, yeah, let's eat them. So we wound up trying them, and that was kind of funny. They're very not like taffy, but like those roll-ups, like
Fruit
fruit roll-ups.
roll-ups,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's what they're like. And they're they're fun. They were a thing. They were a thing back in the late 70s into the early, I would say up until about 1984. They were a thing.
Imagine if they had been brown ones.
Oh, yeah, well, chocolate. Chocolate flavored. How are we doing on time, by the way? I hate to bring it
we're
up in the middle of a chat.
we're doing fine. We're doing fine.
Okay, I
We're
got
do
about 15 minutes before my guys come, so.
Oh, lock them out of the house.
No, no. I've been waiting. We've been having, so I got to get for anybody who's watching, I got to get my roof up, just a piece of it done. Well, not a piece, like a strip done called the flashing. And they were supposed to come and it rained. They were supposed to come and it rained. I had to get it done before Easter.
Mm-hmm.
And so it's like, it's sunny today. Can we come? It's like, okay, what time are you going to be here? We can do it, sometime between 12, and 2 o'clock. And I was like, 12:30. And they're like, okay.
Okay. You have any memories of Kathy Moriarty?
I mean, no, she was just Kathy Moriarty. She was just a very dry sense of humor.
Mm-hmm.
Came in, did her job, and left with, I guess it was her boyfriend at the time. She was very professional about, coming to set, doing the job, and then going with the boyfriend. She was very involved with someone at the time. I don't remember if it was her agent or her manager, but she was very involved with him. So she didn't go to Dunkin' Donuts with us afterwards and eat a dozen donuts in the car on the way back to the city, because we filmed on Staten Island in New York, which is an outer island borough from Manhattan.
And of course, Catherine Walker playing Belushi's wife. And
Yeah.
I tell you, I felt so bad for Belushi because I probably would have lost it dealing with those shenanigans. It looked like, you'll know better than me because you were there. Was that a set or were those two actual houses?
Okay, so there were two actual houses that we filmed in.
Mm-hmm.
But then the ones that they burned down, those were it was a facade. Yeah. So it was just the front of the house. Yeah.
Because I like the Belushi house, the lighting and this and that. And of course, they had the big pit in the back.
Yeah. That was part of this. That was not a part of the real house either. That was off, on it was on Staten Island. So they actually had to build these things.
Mm-hmm.
But that was not behind the house. That was, again, elsewhere on Staten Island. But the interior of the house, it was really someone's active house. Somebody really lived there.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Was you there when Belushi was in the quicksand or whatever?
The bog? No, I wasn't there for that. No, yeah, usually a rule of thumb too when you're filming movies, unless you're producing it also, is you're not really on set when it's not your scene. Except, you can be around, but like if it's at a camp, like if you're at location and you're sleeping overnight in a hotel or at a camp in our case for Friday, but when you're just going to and from a set from your apartment in the city, you're never really on set when you don't have to be.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that was Belushi's last role.
I know. And he was good.
Yeah. Let's talk about Girls' Night Out here for a moment, because I've interviewed Julia Montgomery and I've interviewed Rutanya Alda, both from this film. I think that's it. And you're the third.
Yeah. I was
And
very happy to wear a cheerleading uniform rather than brown undies in that one, but I still had an undie thing. I had little spanky pants on there called that the cheerleaders wear underneath. So another thing with underwear.
that bear costume is a little pre-Freddy Krueger with that thing.
Yeah, and you can reference The Shining with that too. In the hotel with the furries.
Oh yeah,
that was pretty funny. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. What were your memories working on this film? Because you seem to not get to live in these movies.
Yeah, even on the soap opera, I got killed at the very end. Yeah, I'm definitely not a final girl, that's for sure. It was fun. Obviously I have a completely different take on that movie because that's where I met my husband.
Hmm.
So the cheerleading scenes were a lot of fun, with the basketball scenes, because it just brought me back to high school, and I just had a lot of fun doing that. I always wanted to be a cheerleader. I was a cheerleader for a hot second in high school, and I was a cheerleader for the Cosmos, the soccer team,
Hmm.
way back when. So I did have my cheerleading days, but to really have fun with it, that was enjoyable. And the cast was great. We would all hang out off set. Jim Carroll, I'm still friendly with him. He wound up being on Loving, late the soap opera later on. We have kids. Our daughters are the same age. It was just a lot of fun. And my biggest memory was meeting my husband, and everything else is sort of a fog around that.
I gotta get your husband on the show.
If he
Mention
was
that.
here, I would have had him come in, because he's done it where I've yelled downstairs to him, but he's tutoring one of the kids on the Tina the musical on Broadway. So he goes in there
You
with
know
Tina.
what I should do? Sometime maybe a month or so away. Have you two come on together. Would you two be open to that?
Well, we would, but we're kind of in opposite schedules in a way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like when I'm home, he's not home, and then if I'm not home, he's home. So we're kind of in opposite
It's a good
schedules.
thing you met on that movie because you probably wouldn't have met any other time.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, we have different algorithms too, but it works. It all works, but we have different algorithms. It's interesting. Yeah.
I'll reach out to him at some point. But no, and Julia Montgomery I had on here, and she was lovely. Retanya
Excellent.
Alda, yep. And I know you do a voice in Pound Puppies. Do you have a Pound Puppy?
I have a puppy. He's a border collie. His name is Banjo. He just turned 1, so he walks around with little still with his bow tie from Jake's Gem and Bow Ties. That's his happy birthday on it.
Yeah.
He has God. So he's a border collie. So he chases balls, brings them back, chases frisbees, and bring them back. It's like stereotypical border collie, and the only way to get him back into the house is to ask him if he wants a piece of birthday cake, because I got him these little doggy birthday bites. And I go, Banjo, you want a piece of birthday cake? And he'll come running over and running to the door, and he gets his birthday cake. So otherwise he'd just stay outside all day long and drive me crazy. But yeah,
Oh,
I do have, and I have another Pound puppy that I got through Pointer Rescue, the group that I told you about. He was a tough one to adopt. We got him when he was 5, whereas we got the puppy when he was 9 weeks old or so, 10 weeks old. But he's not the youngest puppy that we've adopted. We actually adopted a 4-week-old puppy once from North Shore Animal League. So anyway,
North Shore Animal League.
yeah.
Howard Stern and his wife Beth are involved with that. I've got a calendar of Beth Stern here that Howard Stern took the photos of her, and all the
Uh-huh.
proceeds went to North Shore Animal League.
Yeah. But back when I was on the soap, I used to go there and do appearances and do celebrity dog washes with them. Yeah. Yeah, they're good.
Yep.
We've gotten a few of our dogs from them, but mostly from the one that we have locally. But anyway, so my other Pound puppy is Felix. We got him when he was 5, and he was a tough one to adopt out because he's afraid of men. So if he doesn't know you, he'll snarl and lunge and bark. So he was a tough one. I mean, I've worked with him a lot, and he's gotten much, much better, but I have to be walking him on a hike because I'm the only one who can give him the command. He won't listen to my husband. If my husband says down, he won't, and that can be dangerous for other hikers. So
Yeah.
I've had to train him very, diligently to get away from that, but he still will lunge at a guy if he's a stranger. So I have to be very careful with him, but he's definitely my difficult Pound puppy, but he's 12 years old now, so you would think he would mellow, but he's gotten even more protective, so
What
nobody
about
comes into our house.
what about Muffin?
Oh God, I don't know. I think Muffin lived. Everybody says no, Muffin got, that was her imagining Muffin at the end of part 2, but I think Muffin lived. I'm hopeful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, do you have any convention stories? Like, what's the most unique thing you've ever been asked to sign?
besides the underwear.
Oh, you bet. Okay.
No, when in Germany, a gentleman came and had a figurine that he made of Vicky with the sweater and the brown undies. That was really weird to sign. And then I also signed a paddle, which was kind of weird. But the weirdest thing was definitely, I mean, I had never seen a Barbie of me before, and it was one that he crafted himself. And I was just kind of shocked to see that because she's wearing the brown undies.
Wow. Those photo ops you do with the brown undies, when did you start doing those, and what's been the reaction?
Well, if that was a dare from
Hmm.
my rep, I said to her, I said, because Amy's got her outfit and the sweater, and other people have their outfits. I said, I should do a photo op with brown undies and find a sweater that looks like that one. And she looked at me, she goes, "Are you serious?" I went, "About what?" She goes, "Would you do a photo op with brown undies on?" I went, "You know what? Yeah, I would. Dare me and I'll do it." So we found, satin underwears from China, of course. And she had somebody actually make the top that I wear that is a replica of the sweater. And yeah, that's been kind of a good thing. I think that happened before we did Vegas. So it was definitely before Chicago that we decided to do it. And we got all of our things first and, you know, said in costume. And I wish I could remember which convention it was first that we did it. And then we used that picture to promote it later on. And that's when people were like, "Wait, are you being serious?" And I mean, I'll put my leg up on people, things like that. People pick me up. It's kind of funny. Yeah, we do a lot of fun stuff with it. And in Europe, they got a kick out of it for sure.
Well, I've seen photos at conventions where Kirsten Baker even wears the Mickey Mouse tank top.
Yeah, she wears that. Yeah.
Yeah. So, who are you still connected with from the film?
Bill Randolph, Warrington, Kirsten. Yeah, those three.
Those three. Well, you know what? I got to get them on the show. Well, I've had Warrington on the show. I got to get those other two on the show, especially Kirsten. Boy, do I have a story for her. But I got to get Bill on as well. It took me about 5 years. I finally had Nancy Allen on the show last
Oh,
year, and
nice.
it was so awesome to get her on there. And she
Yeah.
remembered Bill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she remembered Bill
Yeah,
taxiing around.
he can tell you the story, but they had a bit of, they knew each other before that. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah.
nice,
They didn't have
nice.
like a relationship or anything like that, but they knew each other professionally before that. Yeah. But I'll let him
Yeah.
tell the story. I don't want to not let him tell his own story. So
Well, do you have anything coming up that you want to plug and promote on here?
well, I'm doing Blairstown Diner
Mm-hmm.
on Friday, May 13th. That's in Blairstown, New Jersey. So I'll be doing signings and photo ops with the brown undies. And I'm also going back on the Saturday. I offered to just, stay overnight with my sister-in-law who lives not too far from the Blairstown Diner, and to go back and do it the second day, the Saturday, the 14th. So that's set in stone. And then I'm not sure what's coming up after that. There are a few things in the works that we'll see what happens with those. If I can get to Frightmare at the Falls, I'll definitely do that one. But
I'm going to talk to James Ponce about that because he's one of the two representatives, and I've had him on here, and I met him when I went there. So I'm going to bring that up because I can't. I got Lisa Langlois there because I'm friends with her, and I pitched her. So I'm going to bring your name up because I can't see why, unless they're filled up.
right. I mean, I don't know. My rep Stacy, she may have spoken to him. I'm not sure. When is it?
Stacy Lee.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know her personally, but I know the name.
Yes. Yeah. She's great. Yeah.
Well, I'll try James Ponce, but mention James Ponce to Stacy.
Okay.
Yeah, because That's one of the two. I forget the name of the other fella, but I did my first Frightmare in the Falls last year, and I'll talk to Chris Alexander about Horrorama.
Yeah, I love the name Frightmare at the Falls, by the way. That cracks me up. It's like Horror Hound. I love that name, Horror Hound. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So we got to get you out there. So I'll bring that up.
Yeah, road trip.
Yes, absolutely. And you got people you stay with out there, huh?
Yeah. And well, in Buffalo, I would be staying in probably in Buffalo, or maybe not staying in Buffalo because then I'd have to hop the border back and forth. But I would definitely do a road trip. They wouldn't have to fly me to
Oh,
Frightmare.
nice,
Yeah.
nice. Well, you know what? I absolutely loved having you on here today. You're
Thank
absolutely the
you.
delight that Bobby Heckman said you were going to be, you
Thank
know?
you. Thank you. You're very knowledgeable about all of this stuff too.
Yeah. Again, I want to express my gratitude that you did the Doubtfire Face challenge. I'm glad you didn't balk like with your husband, I'm glad you did it. I appreciate it, I take that seriously. Would you like to
Yeah.
plug your charity one more time on here?
Yeah, the big one that you can go to, it's called Pointer Rescue Organization. And
Mhm.
they do a wonderful job with transporting pointers that have been kicked out of their homes for whatever reason because they're bird dogs. And if they are not good bird dogs, they tend to just get let loose on the streets and left to starve, basically. So they place pointers and pointer mixes all over the country and into foster homes and forever homes. And they're just great.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, you know what? This has been a blast, where can people get in touch with you? I'd love to get an autograph if I could.
Yeah, I'm on Instagram.
Hmm.
I mean, I'm on Facebook, but I don't go on it that much because it's just overwhelming to me.
Hmm.
And it's just overwhelming. Whereas Instagram is more, smaller for me. It's just my name. It's at Lauren Marie Taylor with the number 1 behind my name. A lot of people think, oh, that's just somebody else because everybody does official, but no, it's Lauren Marie Taylor with the number 1 behind my name. So Lauren Marie Taylor 1. Yeah, on Instagram.
There you go.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to let you get to your leaky roof.
My roofers, yeah.
So,
I'll know when they're here when the dogs start barking downstairs. Thank you, though.
yes.
Thank you so much for having me on. I'm glad you reached out, and I was glad to do the Pioneer Challenge for suicide and depression. Thank you for involving me with that.
Yeah. You think Kirsten Baker would do that challenge?
I don't know. She's she's got a very unpredictable schedule, so she's a little tough to get on.
You know what? Yeah, I got a story for her, as you know. Before I let you go, I would love it if you did a plug for my show.
Okay, what would you like me to say?
Just state your name and say you were Vicky and Friday the 13th Part 2. Say you're listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise.
Python's Paradise. Okay. Howdy, campers. This is Lauren Marie Taylor, and you are listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise podcast. Did I get that right? Let me do it again.
Yeah,
Python's
absolutely.
Paradise, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Howdy, campers. This is Lauren Marie Taylor, Vicky with those ugly undies and Friday the 13th Part 2. And you are listening to Greg Gilbert on Python's Paradise podcast.
Absolutely. And a special thanks to Scotty McCoy for connecting us. He told me how to do that. And I know he spoke highly of you as well.
Yeah, thank you, Scotty. Beam me up.
Beam you up, And I appreciate you coming on here, and sharing your stories. I'm going to speak to James Ponce. I'll see if we can get you to Frightmare in the Falls. They got Danielle Harris booked there. That's the first announcement they made. So I've
Very cool.
never met her before. So I'm looking forward to it, but I'll bring your name up and see what he says.
Oh, great. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. It'd be great to meet in person.
I would love to meet you.
Yeah.
Love to meet you. So I bid you a good day. We'll let you get to your roof so you don't have to walk around with an umbrella under one little section.
You're right. Thank you. Or a towel on my head. Thanks so
Or
much.
be like Friday the 13th part 2, where you're like this,
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. So God bless you. Thank you so much for allowing me the honor.
Thank you. Mwah.
Bye bye.
Bye.